The impudence, the audacity, the unmitigated gall of those Knuckleheads of Liberty podcasters, daring to voice opinions outside the mainstream of accepted thought. Listen if you dare. It's angry, it's funny, it's even sometimes sad, but it's always based on freedom and justice, as you will see. Here's our host, Jason McPhee.
Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. We are coming at you on April 20th, 2022. It's just managing to stumble our way through this Biden administration one day at a time. But there's some good news coming up. We have FreedomFest in July. And so this show, we're going to focus on that, let you guys know a little bit about what's happening out there. Before we do that, let me introduce you to our panel. In our upper left-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Brathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. And our lower right, or left, right, I'll turn around again. Our lower right-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett. He is a pilot in the state of California. And today we have a special guest, Valerie Durham, Executive Director of FreedomFest 2022. And so she's here to tell us a little bit about that. So Valerie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is FreedomFest? And by the way, we do have a graphic so far. Invisible Hand could throw that up there as well.
Perfect.
There you go.
Well, thank you all so much for inviting me to be part of your amazing podcast. I'm super excited to be here. I am Valerie Durham, Executive Director of FreedomFest. And I'm delighted to tell your audience about it. FreedomFest is a 4-day extravaganza, the ultimate summit for liberty. We invite everyone who cares about liberty in any direction to come together to learn, share, network, and grow the liberty movement. So we don't just talk about politics, although there's plenty of that. We talk about financial freedom, health freedom, including like health, nutrition, healthcare. We talk about education reform, criminal justice reform, social issues like drug legalization, sex work legalization. We tackle science, technology, privacy, cryptocurrency. We talk about, we have our whole film festival. So it is 4 days that are just jam-packed, thousands of people. We have 250 to 300 speakers who show up, and about almost 200 sessions. So there is something for everyone at FreedomFest, whether you're interested in like history and philosophy, libertarian principles, or if you want to go and have some listen to some bombastic debate on, the future of Trump. We've got everything in between. But what really brings us together is this love of liberty. We're a Big Ten event. We're small L libertarian, and we really invite everyone to come together to find that common ground, but also propel ourselves into solutions. And our founder, Mark Skousen, he saw this back when he was the president of FEE. He felt like freedom, all these freedom organizations were very siloed, and he really wanted to bring them together at one time in one place to have these important conversations and to get together. And so that became FreedomFest, and we've been around for 15 years now, and we're growing and growing. And we're in Vegas, so there's all kinds of fun social things going on. Once you're done with the conference day, when it's blazing hot outside in July, then you can go out on the strip and, find whatever you find. A good time.
So do you all have so Valerie, do you all have scheduled debates? I mean, big name people debating issues of liberty.
Absolutely, we have. Debates are one of our biggest aspects because we don't use political labels. We really try to bring experts into the room and talk about things from a different perspective, and actually in an open forum, civil discourse way, allow people to make up their own minds. We call ourselves the world's largest gathering of free minds for a reason. So, for example, we'll do something this year. We have Eric Metaxas debating Michael Shermer on whether atheism is dead. And that's being co-sponsored by Atheists for Liberty. And they're really excited, and we're really excited to bring those two formidable minds together to debate the idea of the future of atheism and religion. So that's the kind of topic you're going to get at FreedomFest. We also have our mock trial, which is one of our most popular events. Every year, we have this signature mock trial with a judge, prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, star witnesses. We pull a jury from our audience, And we put all kinds of things on trial and really listen to both sides as part of the argument. So we've put unions on trial. We've put U.S. on trial.
We had your connection freeze for just a second.
Oh.
You were talking about one of the trials. You know, it's funny. I was there last year. So last year was my first year to Freedom Fest, and it was great. It was in South Dakota. And I remember it was a Michael Shermer, I think, was involved in the trial too as well. I think he was.
Yeah, he's great. Well, he's just such a brilliant mind. He can talk about almost anything. So this year we're putting drug legalization on trial from not just the war on drugs, but, you know, is it, as we see more and more drugs being legalized, how do we manage this? Do we manage this? There's been a spike in overdoses. So what's the situation here? And we really want to look at that from not only a philosophical perspective, but also a practical perspective. So that's our big mock trial this year. And we have some really good people lined up for that. So that'll be Friday night. And yes, tons of debates on anything you can imagine.
Wow. Is the whole thing happening in the Mirage this year, or does it spill out of there at all, or is it? It is.
We love to be self-contained. So when South Dakota was our first time last year being outside of Vegas. We'd always been in Vegas up until the pandemic. We thought of Vegas as the nation's most libertarian city. You can gamble, you can go to a brothel, all these great things. Well, maybe you think they're great, but they're at least available with individual choice as we all believe they should be.
Yes.
So I guess it's debatable whether or not it's great. Getting back on track. So obviously when the pandemic happened, Governor Sisolak was one of these really strict governors, and he had Vegas shut down. Our event in 2020 ended up getting canceled, even though we pushed and tried to have it happen. Kristi Noem, love her or hate her, she was open in South Dakota. So we went to Rapid City, right outside Mount Rushmore, and had a phenomenal event where we kind of took over the town. So that was a little more spread out. When we're in Vegas, we like to be in one spot. So we're going to be at the Mirage, taking over the convention center there. The exciting thing is that because South Dakota was such a big event, it was our record year in all ways, attendees, number of speakers, number of sessions, number of sponsors, everything. We've decided to start alternating. So we had people come to South Dakota because it wasn't in Vegas. We also had people not come to South Dakota because it wasn't in Vegas. So now in even years, when it's an election year, we'll be in Vegas. The politicians like to come for a fundraiser. It's easy to get to. But then in the odd years, we will be somewhere else, different and cool, maybe a bucket list item, kind of like Mount Rushmore. People saying, oh, I've never been to Mount Rushmore. This is my chance to go. So you'll have to stay tuned for the announcement of where we'll be in 2023 that just might be on your bucket list.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Well, yeah, that was definitely one of the questions I was going to ask you. Is it going back to South Dakota? But it sounds like
someday we will. But there are other places that are really intriguing. So as a team, we're going around and investigating other cool smaller towns off the beaten path. Like I don't think we're going to be in Orlando. There's been a ton of conferences in Orlando or Miami. We'll be somewhere a little different and unique, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
I hear there's a little neighborhood in Portland that's all about anarchy.
Maybe that would be an interesting Freedom Fest, wouldn't it?
yeah.
They could use a little Freedom Fest in their lives, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that the hotel rooms would be as clean as what we're expecting.
I don't think so. I think urinate in the corner is.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's it. There's your bathroom. Like it or leave it.
Well, as far as Freedom Fest goes, you said it began 15 years ago. So was the first one in Vegas, or have you done it in other places?
Actually, so as FreedomFest, it was sponsored by the Foundation for Economic Education, the nation's oldest think tank. Mark Skousen was president at the time. So in 2002 is when it launched as FreedomFest. And it was in Vegas. Kim Giffler of The Money Show helped to sponsor it. She already had an event there, and she helped foster. She's a great supporter of liberty. And then Mark was no longer president and eventually took it back over and changed it into Freedom Fest in 2007. So 2007 was the launch of Freedom Fest as its own brand. So for the past 15 years, except for last year, we've been in Vegas. And, I think it's been so interesting to see the arc. I became involved in 2014 as the director, but it's a family business. I'm Mark Skousen's daughter, his eldest daughter. And so I've seen this evolution of pulling this thing together and then seeing the rise of the Tea Party, seeing the rise of the Liberty Movement in a lot of different ways. And I do feel that Freedom Fest kind of tapped into this idea of that there's a broader conversation to be had, and there's a lot more impact that we can be having. And so we bring together the brightest that we can find in the Liberty Movement, major heads of think tanks, scholars and fellows at various think tanks. And many of the think tanks themselves come and are part of our trade show for liberty. We also have a lot of great spokespeople who advocate for drug legalization or school choice, and everything across the board. And that, gold. We were talking about Bitcoin when it was first starting, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I think we should be talking about it. And now, of course, that's just exploded. So we have all of these great groups that come together. So when you walk into our exhibit hall, you are looking at businesses, organizations, think tanks, authors, all kinds of different groups that allow you to engage and actually work with your heroes. And I think that that's part of what is so exciting about Freedom Fest, is that you're going to walk the halls and you're going to pass Brad Lips of Atlas Network, and you're going to pass Matt Kibbe of Free the People, and you're going to talk to Elizabeth Nolan Brown from Reason and Feminists for Liberty. You're going to see all these people, talk to them, and they're there to attend the conference as well. It's not this fly in, fly out kind of typical thing. Everyone is there to really come together, and that's super exciting. And there's a lot of respect. So we really foster this idea of open conversation and civil discourse in a way that you just don't see a lot of other places, especially online or in the media. It's pretty exciting to see.
Well, that was one of the interesting things too, because when I went last time, I actually went through the exhibit hall and I met a few people that we brought on the show. So we had some people from Braver Angels show up, nice. And we had we got Larry Sharp to show up on the show, and a few. I'm trying to Spike Cohen and a few other people. So it was kind of an interesting thing. And in fact, we're bringing back a few people as well. Somebody who wasn't there, but somebody from Gun Owners of America. But Sam Praderis, we had him here, and he's going to be back again, and a few other people as well. So it was a really great way to network and meet people in areas that you might not have even thought about before in Liberty.
Exactly. So. And you do learn so much. I mean, people just come away feeling armed with so much real information. And the thing is, we do present issues. We present that there are problems, but we don't just doom and gloom it. We really focus on, so what do we do about this? What action can we take individually, as a community, as a political platform? There's so many different ways that you can interact, and you find those practical solutions, and they could be way out there. We'll have seasteading there. We go live out in the ocean. That's our solution, or Free State Project. And we have other things that are, maybe here's how you can adjust your taxes so you keep a little more of your money, kind of thing. So it can run the gamut of your comfort level of how radically you want to live liberty. But we do focus on that really important element of practical solutions. And we are, as much as we want to lament and groan and moan and bleh, we're also very smart people, and we use the power of the free market and business innovation to make a difference. And those are the exciting people that you're going to meet at Freedom Fest.
So is the Libertarian Party a participant, or are they funding, or what is their relationship to Freedom Fest?
Yes, we invite the Libertarian Party and feel it's very important that they, as the official Big L, are present. But we have a lot of other political groups too. The Mises Caucus is also coming. We also have the Republican Liberty Caucus is coming again. We have, CPAC is coming. not that they're like a political party, but we've had the Constitution Party with us before. And we actually have another party coming this year, and I can't announce it yet. It just got confirmed, but somebody very exciting, related to Larry Sharp, is coming to Freedom Fest and going to talk about some important things that are coming together there. So make sure you go to freedomfest.com, get on our email list so that you can be part of the big announcements that are coming up, because we have more big keynote speakers that we're going to be announcing in the next couple of months.
Oh, one of the things too I thought I'd mention as well. You guys have I believe it's a FreedomFest Fridays or something like that for people early on. So I attended my first one last month, and so it was kind of I thought it was pretty interesting and a nice chance too to talk to people who are likely to be there as well. So maybe a chance to.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, FreedomFest Friday is the first Friday of every month. And we bring together just the Freedom Fest community, which is we have the most educated, intelligent, insightful, like nice people who come together who care about liberty. And so we'll orchestrate a really fun social hour and intellectual hour. We'll play games. We'll have quizzes. We'll do sing-alongs. I don't know, all kinds of. You never know what we're going to come up with that's fun. But then we'll go into breakout rooms, or we'll have a guest speaker, and we'll talk about, more serious issues as well. And we really want to hear from the individual Freedom Fest community members as well. So it's not this just top down, listen to the speaker. They might present something, and then we have a conversation about it. So Freedom Fest Fridays, there is information on the website about it. You can email us at info@freedomfest.com. You have to RSVP for the link. We don't just broadcast it out. You have to be invited to come in. So if you email us at info@freedomfest.com, we'll share that link. And the next one is, I believe, May 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Well, I had another question for you. Unless Tim, did you have a question? Were you about to jump in, or?
No, I was just saying, wow.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I blew you away with that one, huh? Our alliteration, Freedom Fest Friday. Is that what blew you away?
Yeah, I was oohing and ahhing about that. And of course, I'm in the background wondering if there's freedom and for sex workers, if someday I'll be able to come out of the closet as a sex worker. I'm just wishing and hoping for that day. What do you think?
Why? You don't want to stay in the closet with that. You want to.
No, I don't. I want to come out with it.
Flag freely.
Exactly. I'm just bubbling over. With
decriminalized sex work will be with us again this year, and we'll be doing.
All right. Yeah, I saw that
on that. So this is a fairly new. I think this is a social issue that has been getting a lot more prominence. We did have the dude from the Bunny Ranch come before he died. I'm trying to think of his name.
Oh yeah.
Way back in the day. We've talked about prostitution and brothels and things like that. But as a movement that's coming together in a much more organized way from a lot of these really good grassroots organizations, and they've been engaging with Freedom Fest to talk about this issue.
Yeah, and I see you got my buddy Taraj from, if I'm pronouncing his name right, from Black. Yeah,
we love
Black Guns Matter.
Black Guns Matter.
Oh my God, he's awesome.
He really is, and he'll be on our main stage this year. And he's someone that I think we need to be listening to. Along with Zuby, we have Zuby coming, and I know some people disagree with some of what he thinks, as is true across the board. If you find one person in this world that you agree with 100%, I'll give you whatever's
$100.
Exactly. I'll give you whatever's in my pocket. Yeah. But seriously, so Zuby, these people, we have so many exciting people who are making inroads to talking to new audiences about liberty issues. Actually, a new initiative we have this year that's really exciting is our Eureka Summit. And we're about to launch that. The Eureka Summit is for entrepreneurs, startups, and small businesses who want to use entrepreneurial thought to enlarge their business, because we want to reach out to new communities and bring them into the liberty movement. We all know that liberty is where it's at. But a lot of people have stigmas around it. The media has been very good at projecting libertarianism in this, fringe granola kind of way. Sometimes we do that to ourselves as well, I will admit.
True.
So we're
True.
trying to elevate the conversation and elevate the status so that people know this is a robust philosophical system that does bring more peace, more prosperity, and more happiness to people. That is such an important message, and it gets lost. So those folks who can reach out and bring more audiences in, like Maj, like Zuby, like so many others, it's super important. So with our Eureka Summit, we want to attract people who believe in free markets, small business, as a way to own more of their own lives. Those people think in a liberty way, and we need to bring them in and be part of the liberty movement. So we're really excited about a full track of sessions that allow brand new businesses, middle of the road businesses, or even more mature businesses to take their business to the next level and experience more success and more freedom in the way that they're doing that.
Yeah, and I think it works both ways too. If I could just finish up, sorry, Leon, but it behooves all of us as individuals to become as wealthy as we can, in our own personal lives to help us to promote liberty and to live more of a free life, and money helps that. So let's just be honest about that. And
absolutely.
And it should be everyone's goal to increase our wealth. Go ahead, Leon. I'm sorry.
Well, liberty kills the dependency on government, which is a good thing. But anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about. I just had a little question, Valerie. Going back to this FreedomFest Fridays is what you guys call it?
Yes.
Is that some kind of online event or something?
Yes, it's a Zoom event. It was born during the pandemic, and so many people were bored out of their gourds, being locked down. So we put that together, and it's been very successful, and we just have a great group and a great conversation. So it is a Zoom event that leads up to the idea of coming together in person. We're very dedicated to FreedomFest itself. Will never be a Zoom only event. In fact, even that's one of the reasons we went ahead and canceled it in 2020 when we physically couldn't have an event because they limited it to like 50 people or something per whatever. It just didn't work. So Mark is it's so important that we come together as real people. It's important that we communicate too, but that there's nothing like being in person. So we are going to have a live stream version of FreedomFest this year because we have also learned there are people who can't travel. They might be in Africa, they might be in Latin America, they might be in Asia, they might be just in Canada, and they can't get across that stupid border. Thank you, Mr. Trudeau. And then people who just have physical ailments. So why deny them the opportunity to participate in some way? But I think we all know there's nothing like being physically with other people. It's palpable and it's powerful, and that's what FreedomFest is all about. And I want to follow up on what Tim said. So in addition to our Eureka Summit, we actually also have the Global Financial Summit, which is a full track of investing opportunities, because from the beginning, Mark Skousen is also an economist and a financial advisor. And he understands that principle, exactly what you're talking about, that it is essential to have financial independence as a form of your own independence. And that when we are dependent on even employers, governments, things like that, it does diminish our freedom. So we have just a plethora of amazing investment opportunities, offshore investing, gold investing, cryptocurrency investing, regular stocks and bonds. You come to FreedomFest and if you're interested in investing, you're going to come away with some great tips and great opportunities. We've had many, many, many people make millions of dollars by coming to FreedomFest and engaging with the different sponsors we have on the financial side. So we do try to educate people and give them opportunity to grow their wealth at FreedomFest.
Like I said, liberty kills dependency on government, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. And we believe that, and including with our health. So then we also have a whole health track, because if you can't move your body, if you're limited in that way, if you're dependent on government programs for your health, you also are not experiencing freedom in the way that you should. So we definitely make health an important topic at FreedomFest.
Indeed.
One thing that I was curious about too, about asking, I actually brought my kids last year, and so they're both teenagers, and they had a great time. But are you guys thinking in terms of, I guess, ways to engage children as well, or families with kids, or is that I know that
it's a bit of a challenge. In fact, in South Dakota, we had wanted to make a really robust children's program. There's a lot of liability issues around that, unfortunately, and you always have to be mindful of those kinds of things. So we haven't. I'm intrigued by that idea, and I'm very open to it because I think there is something about family and helping kids understand. I think we'd have to sponsor with some people. Last year in South Dakota, we did do a student track that folks like Students for Liberty and FEE, who are student focused, really helped us with, Young Americans for Liberty as well. Those programs are really robust at FEE, YAL, SFL, YAF, America's Future. There's a lot of groups doing work with students, high school and college students. So we feel like that population is being served. And a lot of times we like to bring those groups in to help us. But we hear over and over again, the people who come to Freedom Fest, they want those young people coming. So it's something that we're thinking about. How can we develop more of a program around children and students, maybe in partnership with some of these other groups like Tuttle Twins, who are doing great work in that area.
Yeah, it would be such a great and wonderful thing if this message of liberty can be disseminated to young kids. I mean, especially given the woke garbage that is being taught in our schools right now, I think it would be a wonderful idea if we can get some serious program going for the children.
Yes,
seriously.
thank you.
Well, and just to dovetail what you were talking about there, Valerie, when I brought my daughter, she is a sophomore in high school this year. But that experience, she wound up meeting some people at the Turning Point table, and she started a Turning Point club at her high school, because that wouldn't have happened had we not gone to the event. So it's there really are
the kind of thing we're hoping that we're bringing people together to then launch and spark new things and new opportunities. That's wonderful. I'm so excited.
Spreading the message of liberty, no doubt.
Well, you know what, we're starting to get close to the end of the time, about a minute and a half left or so. But is there any one thought or an interesting memory that you have that you'd like to share with the audience from Freedom Fest, or some message that you want to leave everybody with?
Man, my first year, that was the year Trump came. I'll never recover. We didn't know. He was just the dude from Celebrity Apprentice who threw his hat in the ring. We're like, sure, come to Freedom Fest. It was interesting meeting him. He was a person of great manifest. As I was escorting him to the main stage, he turned to me, and first he said, "So if I tell people I like Rand Paul, that's going to go well with your crowd, right?" And I said, "Yes, Mr. Trump, yeah, I'm sure they do like Rand Paul." I said, "Okay." And then he turns to me and he puts his finger in my face and he says, "You have the person announcing me tell them that this is the biggest event you've ever had at Freedom Fest." And I said, "Mr. Trump, okay, but I don't, we had tons of complaints already. Like, how could you have him here?" And I agree. I was like, okay, we're giving the guy a chance. Like, because that's what we try to give people chances, And I walked in that room. I told the guy to announce it. I looked out and it was standing room only, police lining the walls. And at that time, it was the biggest event we had ever had at Freedom Fest. And it was an interesting experience to see him be so strong. But you should come to Freedom Fest now to see John Cleese, Lisa Kennedy, Glenn Greenwald, Steve Forbes.
And Rand Paul is going to be there too.
Justin Amott, Mike Cohen, Hannah Cox.
Yeah.
We have so many great people. Go to knuckleheads.com, freedomfest.com/knuckleheads, and use our code Knuckle50. Gets you $50 off the regular registration. We already have discounted rates for students, professors, young professionals. You can bring a guest for $100 off. So please sign up. Come see us at Freedom Fest. If you want to test us out, do the Freedom Fest Fridays. Go to our website, freedomfest.com/knuckleheads. Use the code Knuckle50. Come to Freedom Fest.
That's awesome. And we are out of time, but thanks so much for joining us, Valerie, and we will see you at the next one. Until then, stay free.
Thanks so much.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always and forever.
Thank you for listening to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. Find us on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, your favorite podcast network, and at knuckleheadsofliberty.com.